you are just less than a couple weeks away from the first Kamelot album in quite a while. Where's your mindset right now? Because this has been quite a bit since the previous Kamelot album, obviously before a pandemic.
Right. I mean, it's exciting, of course. We, 5 years, I think, since the last album, which is not very common for us. We usually have a tighter release schedule, but needless to say, pandemic hit right after we came off of our Shadow Theory touring cycle, and we just started working. We never really skipped a beat or missed a beat. Just got straight into it, and then of course, you never knew how many times the deadline was going to move before we actually got to the point where we are now. And it took 3 years basically of pandemic, but we also didn't want to release anything where we couldn't tour on it, and that wouldn't have made sense for anyone. So
smart.
Yeah, we're just happy. We took our time, and I think by doing that, I think we got to revisit some stuff that we weren't maybe sure of, and make sure that all the pieces were there, and that we really got to release an awesome album.
Very cool. That's very cool. It's good to see you take like the smart business project of it as well, making sure you can perform with it and actually play it and tour it live. You have to, like, the whole world was put on pause, and instead of just rushing to get something out there for the sake of it, you guys actually wanted to play your cards right.
Yeah, and I think there was no real rush. No one knew what was going to happen. It was in the first year or two, it wasn't even possible to tour. Like It wasn't even open. The world wasn't open. So yeah, it just kind of organically played out this way, and he was really happy. I mean, with the album and the outcome, and the fact that we're now going on tour in a week feels really exciting.
If I'm correct, you're like less than a week now. You're starting to hit the road pretty heavy. So is this the first real tour that you have been on since all this has started up?
We just actually came home from South America.
Okay.
It wasn't a long one. I think it was 9 shows, but that was our first taste of touring as we know it. It's a little different. You fly between all the countries, and there's no sleep at all, and you're completely screwed up afterwards. But it's a little bit better flying in riding in the bus where you can actually sleep every night, or at least try to sleep.
Yeah, I was going to say, even though if it's like even only 9 shows across South America, though, that's a ways from home as opposed to just some like for the relative distance in Europe and North America, too. So that's a big feather in the cap, too, though, to get those South America shows and do for the fans there who don't always see a lot, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, and that really makes it even more special when you go there, because they're kind of starved on for all that, and the favorite bands come around maybe once every 5, 6, 7, maybe 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's there's always a crazy reception, and a lot of love in the air there, which is amazing.
That's awesome. So going back to the new album, what were some of the goals you had when making The Awakening, coming off of the Shadow Theory? What were some of the instant goals you had that you wanted to make after the Shadow Theory, saying, okay, this album, The Awakening, we have a concept, we want to do something big and gigantic, we want it to be heavy. What are some of the things you really wanted to accomplish in 2023?
Yeah, it's we wanted to bring back some of the old Kamelot traditional hymn songs, like the romantic melodies, the huge choruses, and the melodicness of that. We wanted to bring that forward a little bit more from the past, and but then we also had made a conscious decision to we played a lot of live shows at this point as a band, and just we knew what kind of stuff we're working live, and that we wanted to incorporate in the new songs to be able to play them live at some point, not being taken away because they won't translate live. So we wanted to put it all in there in every song, and I think we really did that. I think really every song is a song that I think everyone can picture playing it live at some point, even maybe the whole album from front to back. So I think that was, or I know that was in fact the things we thought about all the time during the process, and I think we really did that. When I listened to it, I'm really happy about it.
We saw the music video. I played it for our new music stream, and seeing such a theatrical, such a dynamic full stage presence that you all have, and having like the guest in Tina with like the string section and so many big things there. So that I saw in the press release for it, and noticing when I heard the album, this is one of the heaviest albums Kamelot has ever done. Do you agree with that statement that's on the press release?
I think it's one of the most diverse and definitely some of the most heavy parts.
Okay.
But I think what's really cool about it is that we took, like I said, the old, kind of melodies and stuff, but we dressed it up in a new suit, like in 2023 suit, and kind of brought the guitar maybe a little more forward this time. And I think many people have come to Kamelot shows the last 10 years have been blown away by how heavy we are as a band, and how much energy comes from the stage, as opposed to maybe listening to the album where everything is really delicately balanced. So we try to think of that too, mixing this album. Like, we want to bring that energy out also on the record a bit more, for people to feel almost like a live performance when they listen to the album. Yeah, it's
good that you keep that in mind when you're making the album too, so you can envision after the studio, after playing, so that we can actually see that too. That's good insight too. You don't hear that as often. Normally it's, I want to make sure this sounds good in studio, and I want to get this as a product and out there. You guys are going a step forward, which is really nice. How was your personal experience making The Awakening? What were some of the things going through your head while recording everything? Just the overall experience, thoughts you had, hopes you had, anything like that?
Yeah, I was just thinking, since there was more time this time, and basically everything was recorded in my own studio.
Okay.
Which I normally do with my other projects, but it was, for obvious reasons, I've been, since day one in Kamelot, I went down to Sasha and we, worked. It's a different dynamic. It's awesome in a certain way, but it's also, me as a vocalist, I'm used to working on my own. I'm used to working until I'm very happy, and make sure I interpret everything that, as best I can. And sometimes that takes time. Maybe, it has to grow a little bit. And so given that we have time and that I did it in my own studio, I just left it on the stage. I feel like on the stage floor, and I think maybe stretch myself a little bit on this album, and use different techniques that I'm not usually using. And I think that's what my goal was to really bring myself forward one step.
So it feels like you really stepped outside of like your own comfort zone for this one, and it paid off pretty well, which is awesome to hear. So now you have so much going on with so many cool things. You have The Awakening coming out in 2 weeks, excuse me. You have a tour coming out in a week. Do you just feel like this is such like a big relief, or are you more anticipatious, anxious, itchy feet, ready to go?
Both. I mean, it's been great because I, naturally being like an introvert and being a guy that feeds off solitude and has to recharge my batteries. I got to recharge my batteries during COVID. Coming out of COVID, I was like, oh God, like playing live, traveling, and not sleeping, not eating, and your workout regimen goes to shit, and everything, your health actually goes a little bit to shit when you're on the road. Now I'm just like, what I'm mostly looking forward to is coming out and meeting the people again, and that means also playing new songs and interacting on a daily basis with people on the stage, giving them energy, getting energy back. I think that's what I'm missing, and that's what I'm looking forward to, and it's coming up really quick. So I am really excited right now.
Side note: is that a Calgary Flames hat or is that a different hat?
Oh yeah,
it is. Okay, I'm a Blues fan. St. Louis Blues is where I'm from. We're having the worst year we've had in a long time. We've traded our captain. Our assistant captain's gone. It's just a big rebuilding year. And O'Reilly's gone to Toronto. Toronto's going to make the playoffs. Tarasenko's gone to New York. He's going to make the playoffs. St. Louis is going to get some draft picks, and I'm hoping for the best. It's looking rough. So.
Oh man. Yeah. I think Calgary is a little bit in the same boat. We got rid of our 2 top players and got 2 players back, but they have underperformed a little bit. Yeah, we had a great year last year. I was going to say Calgary went pretty good with their competition and stuff. So anyway, it's tough. It's a tough year for both of us, I guess. Then.
Yeah, we'll just have to move on. 2023 is the year about music, not about hockey. and next year could be about hockey. I think that'll be work out well. Very cool things happening. The Awakening is heavy and bombastic and having all these dynamic moments. That's what I noticed when I listened to it. Got a huge reaction when we played the new song on New Music Night. If there is any big message you had to all the fans on what to expect on the new album that are just been itching and waiting for Kamelot's The Awakening, what would you hope that they hear from you, from the voice of it, to say what you can expect as the album comes out?
Well, we're a band that never looks back. Basically, we want to always move forward, and I think that's one of the recipe ingredients in the recipe of our success. And I think with this album, we're going to play a lot of new songs live. We're going to make sure they are awesome, and that everyone that comes to see us on tour are getting the best what Kamelot can be, and getting an amazing experience, interactive experience. And I just hope that we get to see as many of you guys out there as possible during this touring cycle.
As a man who has handled several bands at the same time, had several projects going at the same time, has worked consistently, had such a strong voice, and been able to leave that with separate bands and make sure I have a distinctive sound, what advice would you give to singers and vocalists that are aspiring to get into heavy music?
Well, I think talent is overrated.
Huh.
I think, hard work is what makes someone. If you can have all the talent in the world, if you don't work hard, it's not going to happen. You have to work and work and work and work. It took me about 10 years before I even got $1 out of music. So you got to have faith. You got to, maybe you have to, keep your job and do this. I did it. I did music on vacations, nights, weekends, until I way after I joined Kamelot, actually. So that would be my advice. Don't give up. Make sure you have stability in your life, but don't give up your dream, and work hard, because if you work harder than anyone else, you're going to make it. It is a hard business. It is a very tough business. You need a little bit of luck too, but if you don't do the hard work, luck is nothing.
Final thing, let's go Flames and let's go Blues. I guess we should end it on that.
Yeah, that's a good.
Let's go Western Conference. Come on, Western Conference. Do something. Do something, please.